Alright, yan. Magandang araw mga kabatas natin at welcome sa isa namang live stream. Mga kabatas natin, naglabas yung SC ng recommendation, no? Ito yung recommendation na yan. Yung small businesses, exempt daw dapat sila sa rule in copyright infringement cases. Tandaan nyo mga kabatas natin we are not talking about fair use here kasi kapag kasali ka sa fair use, exempted ka na talaga sa copyright infringement cases. Dito mga kabatas natin, ang nire-rekomenda ng Supreme Court ay kapag ikaw ay isang small business, you are exempt in copyright infringement cases. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Kahit nag-commit ka ng copyright infringement, ito kasi tungkol sa pagpiplay ng music. Okay? Sa mga karinderya, small restaurants, okay, dapat exempted daw sila. Basahin natin, no? Sabing ganyan, to craft a more equitable copyright system, the Supreme Court has recommended that exemptions for small businesses be considered by Congress in addition to the existing limitations in copyright infringement cases under the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. Meron na kasi kaya tayo mga exemptions sa copyright, 'di ba? Katulad ng fair use. Gusto nilang idagdag pag small business ka, exempted ka rin sa copyright infringement. Okay? Sabi niya ganyan, this was part of the ruling laid down by the Supreme Court's Third Division in a decision penned by Associate Justice Maria Filomena D. Singh. Tandaan niyo mga kabatas natin, no? This is a direct call to the Congress na parang sinasabi nila, gawa naman kayo ng batas na ganito, please. That's how our laws should work. It should apply according to the present situation. Diba? Ngayon, sabi niya ganyan dito, this was part of the ruling laid down, blah, 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 blah. Denying the petition for review and certiorari filed by Icebergs Food Concept Incorporated and Alan Janti Yang, the petition challenged the rulings of the Court of Appeals which had affirmed the Regional Trial Court's decision finding Icebergs liable for copyright infringement. Sabing ganyan kasi dito, Icebergs, mga kabatas natin, ito yung negosyo, operates several branches of restaurants in the Philippines. In 2014, a complaint for copyright infringement was filed before the RTC against Icebergs and Young, its president and general supervisor by Filipino Society of Composers, Authors, Publishers Incorporated. Ito yung PhilSCAP. So ito, mga kabatas natin, may restaurant. Yung restaurant na ito, finailan ng copyright infringement ng PhilSCAP. Okay? Tapos, sabi niyang ganyan, blah, 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 blah. Ito, PhilSCAP claimed that Icebergs continues and regular and authorized public performances through the playing of radios in its restaurant of PhilSCAP's musical works constituted copyright infringement under the Intellectual Property Code. Ano nangyari? Itong Iceberg na to mga kabatas natin, nagpapatugtog siya ng radyo. Pag titignan nyo kasi nakasanayan na rin natin nangyayari yan no? Wala naman pakialam na kasi yung mga tao noon. Kasi syempre pag makikinig ka sa radyo, yun, makikinig ka sa radyo tapos nandiyan tumutugtog yung mga yung mga pinapatugtog sa radyo. Okay lang naman makinig sa radyo, wala naman problema doon. Pero pag gagamitin mo kasi yan for commercial purposes, like for example in these restaurants, okay, it's copyright infringement. Okay? Sabi niya ganyan, RTC found Icebergs guilty of copyright infringement. This ruling was affirmed by the CA, prompting the present petition. The court, in applying its 2022 ruling in PhilSCAP versus Asprey, reiterated that the act of playing radio broadcasts containing copyright music through the use of loudspeakers amounting to public performance, a right that belongs to the copyright holder. Tandaan nyo dito mga kabatas natin they played the music directly. Hindi ito parody. Kapag parody, iba na yon. Why? Because parody is an exemption. It is fair use. Diba? Kaya nga dito, sinasabi ng Supreme Court at sinadjust nila na dapat yung mga maliliit na businesses exempted na sa copyright infringement. Ibig sabihin, they can play copyrighted music pag small business ka. Yun yung gusto nilang mangyari dito. Okay? Sabi niya ganyan, thus Icebergs act of playing copyrighted music, albeit through a radio in its restaurants amounted to a public performance of the said copyrighted music constituting copyright infringement and making Icebergs liable to PhilSCAP for damages. Nevertheless, the court noted how it should not ignore the far-reaching consequence that the ruling in this case may have on small businesses if no distinction is made between the big businesses such as the Icebergs restaurant and the small businesses such as small eateries, canteens, carinderias, food carts, and the like. So dito, itong Icebergs kasi mga kabatas natin, malaking chain of restaurant yan. Tapos ginawa nila yon. Ngayon, sabi ng Supreme Court dito, dapat gumawa tayo ng distinction. Pag small businesses lang yan, ito mga eateries, karinderya, food cart, kung nagpi-play sila ng radyo, dapat exempted sila, sabi niya. Sabi niya kasi dito, if the court makes a sweeping ruling that all those in the position of Icebergs are copyright infringers, there would be a ripple effect such that all businesses, including small ones, where it could hardly be said that ambience is a consideration for customers which play music through radios would also be subject to suit for copyright infringement. Anong iniiwasan ng Supreme Court dito? Abusuhin. Yung pagfa-file ng copyright infringement na yan. Kasi nga, marami ang mga small carinderias na they don't actually use those music to create the ambience. Diba? Yung ambience, wala naman silang pakialam eh. Nandiyan lang yun. Parang nakasanayan lang nilang tumutugtog. So sabi nila, dapat hindi sila kasali. Kasi nga, yan o, would also be subject to suit. Anong iniiwasan niya dito? Makasuhan yung mga taong yun. The court, however, noted that there currently exists no exemption for small businesses in the IP code. Anong exemption lang natin doon? Fair use. Tsaka yung iba pa. To continue ignoring this gap in our law will be tantamount to sanctioning the expansion of the scope of copyright in violation of its core objective of achieving the common good. Achieving the common good. Yun naman talaga ang intention ng batas. Di ba? Ngayon, pakinggan kaya ng Senado natin ito o nung ating mga mambabatas. Napakagandang batas ito. Gawa ka ng exemption. I-amend mo yung Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. Maglagay ka ng isang paragraph doon o kaya isang section na magsasabi na yung mga small businesses na ganito lang yung kinikita o ganito yung kapital, exempted siya sa copyright infringement kapag nagpatugtog siya ng mga musika galing sa radyo. This will help a lot of businesses. Ang ganda-gandang batas ito. It added that the Congress' attention should thus be drawn to this deficiency, and in the meantime, the court, in applying the law on intellectual property, must strike a careful balance between the rights of the owners to be compensated for the use of their works and the right of the public to enjoy these creations. Diba ang ganda nung sinabi ni Justice Singh? We must strike a careful balance between the rights of the owners to be compensated for the use of their work and the right of the public to enjoy these creations. After all, these creations, especially music, are for enjoyment. Ngayon, if you restrict these people who consume this kind of products, music, too much, sinasakal mo din yung music industry. Di ba? The court further recommended that the three-step test proposed by Associate Justice Alfredo Benjamin S. Caguiwa in his concurring opinion be considered by Congress. The test provides three conditions to the limitations and exceptions of a copyright holder's rights, establishing the legal parameters for reproducing the work. Yeah. Under the three-step test, the exemptions to copyright holders' rights must cover only certain special cases, not conflict with the normal exploitation of the work, and not unreasonably prejudice the legitimate interest of the copyright holder. Diba? The proposed small business exemption pertains to smaller commercial establishments that are unlikely to significantly impact the market for copyrighted work, and thus must concentrate on the establishment's size, type, usage, and the manner in which the music is transmitted. Ultimately, the objective of the three-step test is to ensure that the right of the copyright holders is protected, and that at the same time, the right of small businesses to use their creations in accordance with the limitations set forth in the three-step test. The court concluded by suggesting that Congress, in its bid to fill the gap in our current copyright laws, should consider the three-step test in order to craft a more equitable copyright system that caters to the unique challenges faced by small Filipino businesses and indeed our society in general without undermining the rights of copyright holders. Isipin mo, no? Kung matalino ka talaga, covered mo lahat agad. Why don't we put this kind of people in the Senate? They fill the gaps in our laws. Hindi yung at least nakatulong. Di ba? Hindi yung at least nakatulong. Sabi ni Your Game is a Scam. So watch party bars are included. How about video okay music? Alam nyo, may Supreme Court decision din in relation to yung play na music ng live band. It's still copyright infringement eh. So dapat i-parody na lang nila lahat. Pero mahirap din kasing gumawa ng parody si Paco. Magaling. Yung mga kabatas natin magaling. Pero ito, yung watch party sa bars, sa TV, no? Yung video okay music, wala pa ako nabasa tungkol dyan. Mahirap eh. Itong watch party sa bars, iba din eh. Pero ito lang kasi tungkol sa pagpe-play mismo ng music eh. Even if through the radio. Pag-aaralan ko yan. Pag-aaralan ko yan. Di ba? Ang ganda. Tapos pag kunwari, ganito, tapos gagawa ka ng batas, o di may nasolve kang problema. Hindi yung puro hearing ng hearing, tas walang nangyayari. Sabi ni Louise, attorney through radio, example FM stations or digital streaming like, oh, tama. Or even if you have the CD, bawal pa rin. As long as you do public performances, it means it caters to the public, bawal. Yung kinakanta sa mga contest sa TV, copyrighted din yun. I think so. Pero I think they ask permission eh. Yung pinag-aaralan ko pa naman ng maigi ito. Pero ang gusto ko talagang specify dito mga kabatas natin eh, i-highlight. Yun ang better term. I-highlight dito yung nandyan na yung batas na nandyan na yung batas na gagawin mo. Simpleng-simple na lang. Supreme Court na rin yung gumawa ng three-step test. Yan, oh. Hay. Sabi ni Kayo, kaya kapag magtatayo kayo ng coffee shop, ang una niyong pondohan ay 100 songs na original. No, kaya nga ngayon yung mga coffee shop nagpi-play na lang sila ng mga royalty-free music. 'Di ba? Wala na kayong naririnig na mga sikat na tugtugin doon. Yan. Maraming salamat mga kabatas natin. At syempre, tulad ng lagi kong sinasabi, matulog po tayo na mahimbing dahil alam natin ay natutulog na mahimbing, siya yung laging panalo. Paalam po, pansamantala.